Q. The Cartoons Cartoon Company, a division of Shaggy Duck Studios, presents How to Create a Cartoon Logo video series by Curtis Tucker. Video number 2, From Pencil Sketch to Ink Drawing, written by Curtis Tucker. Produced by Curtis Tucker, voice of Curtis D. Tucker, edited by Curtis D. Tucker, artwork by Curtis D. Tucker. Hey guys, it's Curtis Tucker here at Cartoons, that sneaker-wearing entrepreneurial cartoonist internet guy. I told you these videos were going to get a little bit fancier. Check that out. That's just scrolling from a page in Illustrator. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, let's get down to business. This is video number 2. And if you remember from the first video, what I had done was told you to create a website, get clients, get a project, get your deposit. Once you have your project, use your art and drawing tables, light table, to get your sketch. Well, once you get your sketch done, what you're going to do is whatever kind of a scanner you have, this is just a Canon printer. Just put your drawing in your scanner, and we're going to scan the design into the computer. And what I use is I just use the software that came with the Canon, so it's just called Solution Menu. But anyway, whatever program your scanner wants you to use, go ahead and use that. And what I do is I scan my pencil sketch in as a color document, 300 DPI. DPI stands for dots per inch. And I save it as a TIFF. So instead of going through all that, let's just pretend that I scan that in. And as I scan it in as a 300 DPI TIFF, it'll ask me where to save it. And I save all of my files in a specific folder for each client. So this would be Mr. Chill Zone. And I would save that TIFF into that folder. Once that image is in that folder, then I can open up Adobe Photoshop. If you are a cartoonist, a logo designer, any type of designer, web designer, you're probably going to need Adobe Photoshop. So I suggest you purchase Adobe Photoshop. So this is what the design looks like when I open, the design, the sketch in Adobe Photoshop. And so from here, what I do is I use Adobe Photoshop to basically ink my drawing. In the old days, before all this computer and gadgetry and software, we actually used bottles of ink, brushes, pens, then Rapidographs came along. I used to use a Rapidograph. There were a lot of problems with that stuff. If you made a mistake, there was a lot of trouble. So anyway, what I'm going to do is show you. This is basically where I would ink the design. So what I'm going to do is show you. I scanned it in, and to show you kind of what it looks like. I know this isn't the best way of doing things, but what I'm trying to do is these videos in under 10 minutes in one shot, no editing. So this is what it looks like. And what you want to do, the first thing that I do once I get it in is I will go up to Image and Adjustments and open up Brightness and Contrast. And what I'll do is I'll shoot the contrast all the way over to the right to make it darker. And then I play with the brightness. And if you watch, what happens is if you go less on the brightness, it gets really light. If you go more, it gets darker. And if you go really dark, what you end up with is you end up seeing all of the little smudge marks. Well, what you want to try to do is find a spot that's right in between the smudge marks and being too light. So I kind of go back and forth, and then let's say, bam, that's where I want it. So that's where I would save it, and I would say, okay. And then basically, let's pretend that I did that, which I kind of did. This is what you would end up with. So what I've done is I've gone from pencil sketch just scanned in to darkened up. If you can kind of going back and forth if you can see that. So what I have now is my darkened pencil sketch. And then what I do, this is where I'm going to go in a little more and try to show you some detail. This is where I will go in, and I use the brush tool. It's kind of hard doing this and holding the camera at the same time. I use the brush tool, and I put my colors on black and white. Okay, down here in the little boxes, one would be for fill and one would be for outline, but black and white. And what I also do is I go up, now I had scanned this in color, I go up to image, mode, and in mode it would be probably RGB color, and what I do is I change it to grayscale. And so now what I have is a grayscale pencil sketch that I've now darkened. And so what I'm going to want to do is go in and clean up the lines. And so I've got my brush tool, and right now it's on white, and so when it's on white it basically acts like an eraser, so I can go up to this mark right there and go over it and erase it, which kind of cleans up that line. And then I've got these areas here which you just basically go over and you clean them up. Now I'm going to zoom in a little, well, zoom in a little more and show you guys, you know, how rough these lines are. See how jagged they are and uneven. And this is where I spend, you know, quite a bit of time, but the thing is I've done it long enough that I've gotten pretty quick. And, you know, what you do is you take your white tool and you kind of erase, and you go along and you kind of smooth out that line. And then a cool little secret is on your keyboard, if you just hit the letter X, just hitting the letter X, if you'll watch the black and the white box, by just hitting the letter X, it flips back and forth from white to black, white to black. So over here I'm in white and it looks like I'm erasing. Now if I click the X, it immediately turns my tool to black. If I hit the X again, it immediately turns it back to white. So it's kind of like, it's an easy way of like going from the brush tool to the eraser tool. So it's really cool. So back and forth. So what I do is I go back and forth, and like I said, it's a little hard doing this with a camera in my hand, but you know, I'll go back and then I'll hit X and then I'll come in and smooth out those lines, you know. And I've kind of got right now I have it set at 6. My drawings are usually about 3 to 4 inches wide at 300 dpi. My brush tool is usually set on anywhere from 6 to 8 round. I believe it's kind of got a little bit of a, well, I use the round. So anyway, and just kind of what I do is I go back and forth, and so what I'm going to show you real quick, let me zoom out a little bit more. This video may be a little longer. This is what it looks like. I've done half of it. Zoom out, view. The areas that I want to be black, I darken in. So if you can see here, this is where half of it has been inked and half of it has not. So let me try to go back and forth. Can you see that? See how cleaning it up has kind of made the lines a lot more defined, a lot smoother. This would be like if I had actually put it on a piece of paper and inked it in. See how that rough, clean. And this is the nose and the eyes. One eye has been done. Rough, cleaned up. Rough, cleaned up. And basically what I'll do is I'll go over every line on the drawing with that brush tool back and forth until I get every line, and eventually it looks like this. So the entire drawing looks like it's been inked. So this is what this character looks like, completely inked. And what I'll show you is from the pencil drawing original, looked like this, and then when you ink it and darken, it looks like that. And so what you're left with is pretty much an inked 300 dpi piece of artwork ready to go. And this is the artwork that I will place into Illustrator and Vector, and that's what I'll show you on the next video. So this video is just about done, so I am out of here and I will see you guys later. Bye!